Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Spiritual as Fuck podcast. I'm your host, Kiki Sita, and today we are going to be talking about the online coaching industry, which is hanging on by a shoestring. Are you sick of the online coaching industry? I just want to ask you that. It is 2025. It's almost 2026. The tides are changing. We're closing loops. We're all about closing cycles right now, closing off big cycles, big karmic cycles, big karmic loops. That is the energy of 2025. I think everybody has had their ass handed to them, whether it's finances or personally or with your health. And some of these really big issues are coming up, both in your personal life and collectively. So we are definitely closing off some of those loops. One of those loops being this oversaturated, inauthentic, fake, ego based online coaching industry. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background information on me. My name is Kiki, and I have been on both sides. I have tried the online coaching industry. I have invested tens of thousands of dollars into that industry, and I get it. I've been the client, I've been the coach, and there's always been something about this whole industry that has given me the ick. Um, I cannot make my money any way that is not authentic to my soul. I have never been able to. And so it's just when something is shearing inside of me that's just not feeling in alignment with me, I can't do it. And so I do not consider myself a coach. I have never wanted to use that verbiage. I am still struggling as to what verbiage to use to relate to people what I do. So I just like to explain it. I do see clients mostly in person, but I do see them also virtually online. And I have an ability to be able to see into people's energy fields. I work with the energetic systems of the body, the chakras. And I am able to see visions for people about spiritual and energetic and emotional wounds that are stuck in their body, in their electromagnetic field. And then I'm able to see kind of wormhole into inner child type stuff. And I'm also able to come out of that, alchemizing the energy both within the body, in the mind, in the spirit. And then often I'm given a little bit of access into the future as to what I see happening in people's lives. And I help them navigate through whatever it is that they're trying to navigate through right now, whether it be a breakup, a job change, a death, or just simply feeling confused. And if people have an issue connecting with their higher self or their third eye and they're not able to see clearly for themselves, I'm the conduit for that. So I'm not giving any of my own advice. I'm simply a conduit for source energy to flow through me. In all my sessions, I work with Catherine Cooper, who is actually the shamanic Reiki therapist that before she passed, she came to me specifically and said, I want to pass down my healing abilities. I want to pass down my psychic visionary abilities onto you. And I want you to carry on my legacy. And it was, long story short, this incredibly crazy metaphysical experience that I had that changed my life forever, and completely 180 changed the trajectory of my entire life. Since then, I have been getting visions for myself, which has helped me out of toxic relationships. It's helped me know where to go in my life. My whole life is guided by this higher vision, this higher intuition, this higher perception. Is That's how I see everything in my life. So um, I tend not to rely on logical, calculated decisions. I'm just simply guided by a higher force in my life. And so I'm able to help bridge that gap for people. Um, so yeah, I have done the whole coaching industry. I have successfully created courses online that people have taken, and I have, gone through all of it. And there's just some things that don't work. they don't they don't feel in alignment with me. I want to talk about some of those things today. But first, I want to talk about the coaching industry in general. We've been talking about that it is shifting. my girlfriend Celeste, who sees visions also for the microcosm, which I call the microcosm is people personal issues, their personal world, but then the macrocosm is like this collective reality that we're all in. And so her and I often have discussions about what's going on in the collective, and we've both agreed that it is a crumbling paradigm. And many of the coaches that are online talking about nervous system regulation and frequency and energy, they're just out there selling that kind of stuff, but they're not actually embodying it. And more than that, there are the coaches then that will talk about embodiment, but they are also not embodying things. And it's so fake. And I find this is the sad part is that I find that the coaches that are actually embodying that, they're not making the money because they're not the greatest at marketing themselves. And so they're there doing the work. They're holding space for people. They are heart centered. They don't care so much about the money and being this boss babe and this boss ass bitch and all of that. They care more about actually helping people one on one. So, yes, it's an oversaturated market. Yes, you have a bunch of self proclaimed experts. The coaching industry is full of self proclaimed experts, and they will claim that they have a background in neural linking, neurogenics, and all this kind of stuff. And in reality, they don't actually have any formal training. So I've been a massage therapist for over 13 years. I had to go for 8 hours a day from September to June, like a full semester, not even like September to April. No, it was the full meal deal, 8 hours a day, twice a week, were 15-hour days in clinic for 3 years. And that tuition was, I think, $30,000. Now we have coaches out there that are self proclaimed experts in the industry, and they're charging 3,500 USD per month. So their little online programs are costing more than my tuition did for 3 years. And, once you get out of college, you're well on your way. Like you're immediately making $110 an hour, right now up to 130 an hour, but you hit the ground running immediately. The problem with a lot of these online investments, these online coaching investments, is that you're basically trying to make enough money at the beginning to pay your coach this astronomical, ludicrous amount of money, and you're not profiting anything. So you're busting your ass. You're trying from the ground up. And if people have never heard of you before and all of a sudden you pop up online and you're like, I'm a manifestation coach and I'm this and I'm that and they're looking at you now too, that where did you come from and where are your credentials? And so it is whacked that you're spending so much money, more money than you would be spending on a college education, to this self-proclaimed expert online, and then you're busting your ass trying to pay them and not make profit. And then you get spat out of most of these containers, once you've paid your coach all of that money, you come out and you still feel like you don't quite know what's going on. I've been there, guys. I have done the full year with a coach, and I've done the launch your business in 90 days thing. And 95% of the time, I would say that the people that I was in that container with, they don't have online thriving businesses. In fact, they went back to their matrix job, as I call it, because it didn't take off, and they still don't feel like they're fully supported. And the coach made all of the money. And so, aside from self proclaimed experts, I want to talk about these insane price points. So, I've already compared it to what you would be paying for a college or university tuition. And don't get me wrong, I call it institutionalized these days, especially because of the stuff that they're teaching in colleges. I'm a massive, massive conspiracy theorist. So, I'm not necessarily advocating for that old paradigm, because I also believe that universities and colleges are, you know, have their own thing going. But I'm just doing price point comparisons here. So 3,500 USD, and they're charging Canadians this. So just double it right off the bat. And so you're paying that kind of money. I don't care what you could say on a phone call, but they're offering like 2 phone calls a month. Usually they're biweekly phone calls. Sometimes you'll get a 45-minute weekly check-in. Listen, I don't care what you could possibly say. There's nothing you could possibly say to me on a phone call that would make that would make it worth like $750. Nothing. Because I know what it's like to talk to somebody on the phone for 45 minutes. You can only cover so much material. You can only get so much out of it. And it is not worth $750 or more than that. Lawyers. Lawyers are not charging that much money. Lawyers who are writing legal documents for you and potentially representing you in the court of law to fight for things that really matter. Like, I'm not saying that your livelihood doesn't matter, but they're going to bat for you when it comes to custody, when it comes to, your divorce or big lawsuits that are happening in your life. Like, you need lawyers, and they don't even charge as much as some of these self-proclaimed expert online coaches that are doing all of this. It's a ludicrous amount of money. And then they lock you into a contract or a container because that is the goal. They want to lock you in, and then they want to hold you to that. And they trick themselves into saying that they're empowering you and that they're holding you in the fire and that they're the ones that are pushing you to be all that you can be. And guys, I am speaking from full-fledged experience here. Like, I'm being so real and authentic with you here. I have been there. I've done that. I have literally said that phrase, and that phrase, I'm going to hold them in a fire for a little bit, was actually quoted by my old business mentor, who then related to other people to push that narrative, like, hold these people in the fire, because even though they can't afford it, they need to bust out of their wealth paradigm so that they realize that they can. And yes, there's truth to that. Yes, there definitely is a part of that is real, and that when we hold people to a higher standard or the vision of a higher potential, whatever, there is that. But this is how they trick themselves, and I don't agree with holding your average Joe to that amount of money. And you've got all these coaches on there that want the perfect client. Who's your ideal client? Who's your ideal avatar? Well, sure, everybody wants a millionaire, somebody who's just gonna dish out money and be happy with what they get. But the real deal is that most of the coaches out there are wanting that, but then they're taking on your average Joe who does not have that kind of money to spend. And we are in a recession in Canada right now, and very few people have money to spend on a coach, where it's like, you might come out with an online business, you might fly, you might fail. And what they're investing or dishing out is more than rent and food combined. You can online, I've been looking on Marketplace, you can get a 6-bedroom home for per month for less than this online coaching price point. Guys, where did this come from? Where does this come from, and where do we get off charging that much money to your average Joe who wants to start an online business? Not only that, but like we're like self-proclaimed experts that, are doing it our way, and our clients make 6 figures, and everybody's using these hot button phrases, marketing, and it does not sit well with me at all. My last course, I did undercharge for it, very much so. My last course was, I think, around $500. And I had someone that went through it and was like, that most coaches would be charging 10,000 for this, right? And I was like, yeah, no, I can't, in my right mind and with a heart that stays centered, I can't do that. That is insane. I would never feel good about that. And if you do and you're doing amazing and you have the clients that are paying you that kind of amount of money, then good for you. But most coaches out there are not actually consistently making that amount of money. And then when they don't make that amount of money, they think that they need to like work on their mindset or their frequency and all of this. And guys, again, I am all about raising your frequency, attracting abundance into your life by being the frequency of abundance, anchoring in the codes of abundance, the energy behind it, the mindset of it. I have done over 7 years of continual deep work around that. And my vibration around abundance and that is pretty good. But so is my heart around not gouging people. So we've talked about the self-proclaimed experts in the industry. We've talked about the different price points and now I want to get into the ego versus heart. So I have never, my deal in the coaching industry, again, I don't like to call myself a coach. It's never stuck well with me. It's never been about helping other people make money. My approach and my expertise has always been in helping people learn how to meditate, helping people learn how to connect with their intuition and their higher self and receive messages from spirit guides and higher self so that you are guided by a higher perspective in life. It's like an eagle eye perspective that has a higher vision for what is going on in life so that you can make aligned decisions. I teach people how to actually get into alignment so that they feel a coherence within them. And then that coherent field around them does naturally start to attract better things in their life. And the work that I do one on one with clients is tapping into their energetic field and being able to channel messages from their higher self, from their spirit guides, take a look and see into their emotional wounds, what needs to be released and let go of. And they really, truly are incredibly transformational. But I've never been online claiming that I make other people money. So that's a major selling feature. And actually, at the beginning of this last year, I was thinking, oh, it'd be so much easier if that was my marketing tool because everybody wants to make money and that's what they fall for. Not everybody out there wants to better themselves. Not everybody out there wants to learn how to meditate and deepen their connection with their higher self, even though that's the most important thing in my books. They just want to make a quick buck. And so the people that are out there that are marketing, I can make you money. I thought at the beginning of the year, that'd probably be a lot easier. But the truth is, that industry is so infiltrated and oversaturated with egotistical leeches, egotistical gougers out there. And I know coaches personally that one part of me knows that they have a lot to offer. They're often feel as though they're in integrity, they're authentic, they're all the things, but they're still under delivering and they're charging way too much money for what I think it's worth. And when things go sideways, they ain't showing up high vibrationally. They're showing up as bitter and frustrated and resentful of their clients. And then they dig their heels in and they feel like they should be charging even more so that they don't lose money. And again, I am also speaking from personal experience. I've been there. I've gone through the full spectrum of the highs and the lows and the resentfulness, and I'm getting out and I want to come back in. But at the end of the day, after this whole roller coaster of being right in it and taking a step back and watching it objectively and going through my own highs and lows and ebbs and flows and alchemizing that energy. And I've been where things are vibing and I've been where I'm like digging my heels in and I'm going to show them. And even through that experience where you're digging your heels in and you're holding people in the fire and you're going to, make sure that they get this. And it is a very forceful energy. It doesn't feel very high vibrational. And it causes a lot of resistance. And that is not being heart centered. It's not very high vibrational. And I struggle to say that because people that are really wanting to say like, this is it. I'm putting up boundaries for myself. I have to make an example out of people that are not paying their bills and all this kind of stuff. I have been there as well. And as as empowering as that feels, as authentic as that feels, you feel at the time like you're in integrity, like you are holding to your boundaries. It tricks you because it legitimately feels like you're empowered and you're empowering other coaches out there when you share about these types of things. But guess what? Most of the time, you're just empowering other coaches that are also just as stuck as you are, that also resent the industry, that are also bitter and miserable about it all because they're not actually heart centered. And when you are actually in alignment with the universe and you're heart centered and you want to help people, A, you're not going to gouge people. B, you're going to be very open and honest about your credentials and what you've got and what your past experience is. And C, when things go sideways and when things go wrong, you understand that you need to let it go. The trash takes itself out, that there's going to be other opportunities, that this clearly wasn't an opportunity that was aligned with you or anymore or whatever. And you let it go. You don't go harassing people and digging your heels in and all of a sudden you're upping your prices again. And the whole like you're worth it kind of this whole hype mentality. I've had business coaches that are this hype mentality. They hype you up like you can charge 3,000 USD a month. You're worth it and you value yourself and self-worth and mindset and all of this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, I go back to I don't care what you there's nothing you could possibly tell me in 1 hour's phone call that would be worth $750 of my time. And I have spent thousands of dollars on coaches. I've spent thousands of dollars on therapists. And truthfully, the therapists that helped me the most were ones that were anywhere from like $150 to $200 per hour. But they didn't lock me into any sort of container. I didn't sign any sort of contract that locked me in for life or for 6 months or three, whatever. It was just pay as you go. And when you're with them, when you get proximity to them, when you're working with them on in that one-on-one container, they're focused on you and you're getting the value from that. And I get it when you want to scale your business and your books are filled completely to the brim and you're trading your time for money, then you can go into scaling your business. But we have people that are trying to scale a non-existent business where their timetable is not full, their schedule is not full. They're not tapped out, maxed out, working one-on-one with people. They don't have any foundation. And they're right away trying to scale a business that doesn't really truly exist, that hasn't gained traction yet. And that's my problem with all of this. I was just talking with my friend this morning, who's also one of my spiritual mentors, and he said, "Yeah, I seen this coach that was charging way back in the day. This was probably 10 years ago, who's charging 333. Oh, I want to talk about that too, angel numbers. Been guilty of that myself too. Um, but he said he had this guy was selling an online course for 333 to this whole ascension program of how to ascend. And he asked his spirit guides, how come it's taking this guy has it online for that much money and it takes a course of over 9 weeks, and this is something that I can do in 15 minutes. And his spirit guide said, because often people associate psychologically the more money they spend, the more time that they spend on something, the more valuable it is. When in reality, especially when you're working with the cosmic field and time is not linear, things happen like that. Shifts can be immediate, but there's the whole psychology behind it. So you have a lot of people blowing up things that are so simple and dragging it out for much longer than what it needs to be. And then you have people that are thinking, oh, well, if I am spending all this money and all this time, it must be worth it. That must be the value of it. And let me just talk about, okay, guys, I literally just changed my price points because I'm not a huge numerology person, but I wanted them to equal 8. I love the number 8. It's abundance. But before that, I was guilty like the rest of them all with 333, 222, 444. And I heard this parody online of this guy that was talking about it. And he goes, oh, okay. So I'm spending an extra $100 because she wants the next angel number. So it's not 333. It's 444. I'm spending an extra $100 for nothing just because she wants to jump up to the next angel number. And I had to burst out laughing. And I was like, that is so true. That is so true. No longer is it like, okay, I raised my prices by $54. It's like, oh no, here's $100 because we're going from 222 to 333 to 444 to 555. And it's just so cliche. Blech. It's so cliche. I can't stand the cliches anymore. I can't stand the inauthenticity. I cannot stand the fact that everybody's preaching regulated nervous system and you don't have to burn yourself out. And then yet when they're not getting their money, when they're not getting their checks cut for them, they're like, you need to burn out. Sometimes you need to burn the candle at both ends. Sometimes you just need to dive in. You need to pull the all-nighters and all of it. Whoa, 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 whoa. Like, where did your whole ideology about not burning yourself out go? Just gone? Yeah. Okay. So when it comes to you getting your money, then it's just gone out the window. Like such inauthenticity. I'm so not a fan of any of it. And then the worst part about it is that I have mentioned at the beginning. So I do see 95% of people, including myself, that come out of these coaching containers. And yeah, it gave you an idea of writing the emails and the funnels and all of that. But at the end, you come out of it and you're still very much lost, right? It's not like college where it pumps you out and then it pumps you out into the work field and you have a clinic or a business or whatever that you run. Some people do, but most people don't, in my experience from what I've seen. And one more thing that I'll say is a lot of coaches that are out there who claim to have 15 years of experience behind their belt, it is nice to hear that coaches have experience, right? You don't want to just have somebody that just took one 6-week course and all of a sudden is out there claiming that they're an expert when they really don't have a lot of experience working with clients. I myself only have 7 years of shamanic healing work and intuitive channeling for people. But I'm going to tell you something. When you hear these coaches that have scaled businesses and that have worked for the last 15, 20 years with clients and stuff, because we've only recently shifted as a collective from a very masculine model, a very masculine business model, a paradigm where you're doing the cold calls and you're sell, sell, sell. You're out there, you're marketing, and it's very aggressive. It's very effort based. It's not about aligning your frequency and letting things flow. It's about anyone that pays the money is your client and you're helping them and you're stepping up. When in reality, when things have shifted in the collective over to the feminine model, where we've gone from a patriarch to a matriarch model where things are aligned by frequency and people are either attracted to who you are and what your vibe is and then they'll naturally want to work with you or they don't. And that's great because there are only so many spots to fill and the people that are going to fill them are going to naturally be magnetized to you and the other ones are just going to be repelled by you. And I know this probably more than anybody because I'm a manifestor in human design. And we are the only archetype in human design that have a closed aura. In one way, it's a great natural filtration system because we are not left with an open aura. We're the only ones with a closed aura, which means that we just pump energy out and you're either magnetized by it, you're either inspired by it, you're pulled in by it, you're lured by it, you love it, you can't get enough of it, or you're completely repelled by it. Like, I don't know why, but I don't like you. And there's something about you that I just don't like. I can't even put my finger on it. Ick. So in a way it works great. It's a natural filtration system because we naturally magnetize people that are a vibrational match to us and we repel others that are not. But all the other archetypes in human design do not have a closed aura. And so they have to filter through that themselves. They have to find ways of finding out if that person is actually a vibrational match to them or not. But that's the overall vibe is that you do what you love and you pump it out there and the people that are magnetized to you, they will come. And it's not that I've also been in the situation where you don't want to give any free value. That's why I started my YouTube channel is because I was like, I can't hold back on this knowledge anymore. I want to give it to people. I want to put it out there. I want to create free content where people can find me and they can benefit from the wisdom that I share online without necessarily having to work with me. But if they feel a call to work with me, then they do. But many of these coaches out there don't actually have any free value online. They're just hitting up Facebook, like roasting their keyboard, post after promo after promo. And it's just like, okay, where's your content? Where's your valuable content? Where's your freebies? Where are you sharing from the heart? Where's your feminine overflow energy sharing from the heart? And then people that listen in and they like it and they're drawn to it, then they make a move to work with you. So that's what I'm finding. It is moving from a toxic masculine model to a feminine model, which is attraction based, frequency, resonance based, and the universe takes care of that for you. If you are in your frequency, the universe is taking care of that for you. And there's a lot of coaches that have moved over and switched over to the verbiage and the language of that. But because they have been in business for 15 years, they are still actually operating on the toxic masculine paradigm. The Ferrari can be pink, it can even have Barbie written across the hood, but the engine is still working on that toxic masculine model. And that's what I'm finding right now is that there's such a dissonance between what people are saying and the lip service that they're offering and the fancy marketing hit buttons that they've got going on and then what they're actually operating on. It's not the outside of the car, it's the engine within. It's what's making your business, the meat and potatoes in your business. And so much of that is still based on the toxic masculine model unless you've truly, I believe, unless you've taken a step back, because in anything that you want to transform or transmute in life, I feel like there's a necessary step back that you have to take and reprogram and then come back to it, you know? So I want to talk about the future of what's going to happen in coaching. And I do not foresee people that are gouging people rising to the top anymore. I don't foresee coaches that are being inauthentic, promising and under delivering, thriving anymore. The future of coaching is going to be the genuine, heart centered light workers that are working for the greater good to help people ascend. Whether you are an energetic coach or a psychic or a visionary, or you are helping people make money online, the most important thing is going to be that you want to help humanity as the collective ascend. That is going to be at the focal point of what you do. It's not going to be this boss ass babe vibe and I'm a rich bitch and I've got so many followers and I help people make six figures. It's just got such a superficial vibe to it. And the true light workers want to see souls ascend, people legitimately unplugging from the matrix and being fulfilled and happy. And they're going to do it in such a way where it does not gouge people. They're not making themselves a rich bitch or a boss ass babe before they help others do the same. So it's going to be the coaches that are heart centered, that are really actually wanting to help people. And the price point is a huge one. That's got to come down. And I don't agree with locking people into all these contracts and holding them to it. And guys, I've been there before. I'll be the first to admit I don't have anything to hide behind. I'm just here to tell the truth. I'm here to share from personal experience myself, the mistakes that I've made and the misalignments that I felt within and I couldn't run with it. I couldn't. Maybe it lasted for a couple of months, maybe for a year, but it just did not sit right with me. And it's not where I see our future going as coaches online, as therapists, whatever. But I think that the thing that is going to take off are the people that are just helping others work through their stuff. And if you can honestly Be an expert in your field and hold people during that time where you can actually literally help them through their things, move them through their blockages. And that's going to be the most important thing. Those are going to be the ones that rise to the top. Those are going to be the ones that are actually successful, like actually successful, not online successful, looking successful, like they're fake typing behind their laptop on their branding shoots and they're like looking. Guys, again, I've done the branding shoots where I'm fake typing on my laptop and I look so important, but it was just a facade. It wasn't until I just dialed back on all of that and was like, I'm just going to be genuine and I'm going to help those that come to me and I'm going to be fair with my pricing and I am there for them. It's a heart-centered business. It's a heart-centered approach. That's honestly when people started coming more and more. I spent years in the facade as well. And I think that so many online coaches out there are not making any money. They're not really helping anybody and they're really gouging people. So be careful out there. Know that the tides are shifting collectively in the coaching industry and it's giving me the ick majorly. And it's probably giving you the ick as well. And you can see the cracks in the foundation and you can see how it's not sustainable. It's not truly the real deal. It's inauthentic. And if it gives you the ick, trust that feeling. That is your gut saying this is not in alignment with me. And even though everybody's preaching it, everybody's out there hyping it up, it's such a dead industry. And honestly, the people that are in it are hanging on by a shoelace. So it is shifting. Just be heart centered and be integrous and don't gouge people and don't get bitter and angry and resentful when your business is not flowing. Okay. You don't need another course. You don't need another this, another that. It's just tune into your intuition and show up authentically and share from the heart and work with your higher self and your spirit guides and meditate every day so that you're actually embodying your higher self, your higher timeline, and things will work out. They will. You don't need all of these other mouthpieces that are just in it for themselves. They actually don't care about you being successful. They care about filling their pockets. And that's the problem with so many of them out there. So, in love and authenticity, I'm going to leave you with that. If you are equally frustrated with the whole coaching industry, it is because it is on its way out. We are doing away with old cycles and part of that old toxic masculine cycle, part of that old business paradigm that is going out the door and is not coming into the year of 2026, which is the year of one, which is the year of new beginnings. Part of that is, believe it or not, these coaches online that are presenting themselves as though they've already let go of that paradigm. But when push comes to shove and things go sideways, you can totally see their true colors. So stay vigilant, stay careful out there, and make sure that if you're a coach and you're noticing this as well, be heart centered because this whole boss babe and make six figures and all of that, and put your sunglasses on and do the fake typing and pick your laptop up. And I've got so many clients, and like it's just ick. Stop it. We can all see through it. The more that we raise our vibration, the more telepathic we become, the more empathic we become, the more energetically sensitive people become, the more that kind of crap is just not resonating anymore. And people can see right through it. It's like when somebody comes into my DMs right now and they're trying to feel me out, and it's like, I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. You're trying to butter me up and trying to talk to me and trying to like put out lines of communication out there. Guys, I've been there, I've done it. I know what you're doing. And it's inauthentic. So just keep doing you. My advice is to create a channel where you're helping people, where you're naturally overflowing from what you naturally are passionate about and you're sharing from a heart space. And then if people like you and they like your frequency and they're attracted to you, then they'll book with you. Plain and simple. Until next time.